Hi, everyone. Just making sure you guys can hear me before I come on here. If you're watching and you can tell me if you can hear me or not, that would be great. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you, Eagle. I'll start in about 5 more minutes. I'm kind of gathering my thoughts. There's a lot that I want to go over because we're going to go over what's happened in July and we're going to move into August. And we've got so much going on in the skies. So I figured this is going to be the best way to do with a live, and it's going to take a minute. I may have to like even have an intermission and then come back. So, um, go get your snacks, go get your drinks, go get settled in because this is going to probably be a long one. Okay. Let me remember I don't have David, so I'm going to do this by myself. I think I'm going to switch screens. Did we do that? Yeah. Okay. So I apologize. This is the best lighting I can do for right now. It's not the best lighting, but at least you can see me. Um, I'm allergic to the sun, as most of y'all know, so I cannot open those windows, the blinds. So I have to use fake light, and it can't be like right on me all the time. So this is the best I can do, but I think it'll work because it's not about me anyway. It's just about what I'm going to be showing you guys. And we have so much that's been going on. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in America, and I am from America, but I'm trying to like broaden it so that you guys in the other countries can kind of um, gain some wisdom about what's going on in other places. And anytime you guys want to interject and ask about that, um, you're welcome to. So, um, that's why I don't like to just talk about like politics and because it's all over the world and I want everybody to be included. If that makes sense, I try to be a little bit more general than more specific. But I know people want to hear specific things and specific predictions, right? So, welcome everyone. My name is Cindi. I am at Simply Cindi. I'm just kind of letting people show up, come in. We are going to talk about, um, I mean, we have so much to talk about. I have pages and pages of notes that I need to talk about. I don't know if y'all can see that. Pages and pages. And I mean, they're big pages, they're not little pages of notes. Because we have so much that has already happened and we're not even done. And it's interesting that it's in retrograde season, right? And um, before retrograde season, I just released those videos where I had talked about that before retrograde season was coming. And I'd said that I don't think it's going to be the same as it was last summer retrograde season because last summer we couldn't move on anything. I felt like this time we were going to be moving a lot, not pushing it to move. It was things were just going to happen. We just had to be prepared and clear minded and the decisions and the perceptions and the beliefs that we have when those things come about, right? Um, and obviously the big thing for Americans that came about, but people around the world look at us and um, it's like a lot of people in America look to California when we're looking at the newest stuff, right? So a lot of people around the world look to America to see what's coming, to see how we're doing it, right? Um, Not all things because there's a lot of things that you guys do better. Lots of things, lots more things. And by you guys, I mean everyone around the world. So, um, anyway, I know that I said I'm not political. Excuse me. And I feel like by saying that, you may feel like, I'm sort of like I don't care. I do care. I care very much about the way that my country goes. But for so long, my generation has seen what our government and I mean, we were firsthand seeing a lot of what our government is capable of, what they do, and what they don't do, right? And so it's not that I don't care, it's that I haven't found because either side is awful. It's just awful. So I don't know how to say that I don't believe in either side. I most of my generation is sort of in the middle, and we try to we don't pick a side, but we try to see okay that there's some good there, there's some good there, but there's some bad there, and there's some bad there. I think that's just politics anyway, but I don't associate myself with one party or the other. I guess that's what I mean. Um, and I'm pretty. You can say my view is pretty neutral, right? But don't mistaken the fact that because my view is pretty neutral, I come from a military background. Um, I've had uncles, grandma, grandpas, aunts, husband, uh, cousins, lots of people who have not survived, who have died for this country, who will lay down their life for this country. So when I say that I'm not political, it doesn't mean I won't do what's necessary. I guess that's the way I should say it. But in the work that I do, I have this way about me that can take the middle and see all sides, right? So I hope that makes sense. That's sort of my political view is that they're both wrong. That's my political view. Whether that's right or wrong, um, I don't think it matters whether it's right or wrong. we kind of all see what's going on, you know, and but I'm not somebody to tell somebody else that they're wrong and their belief system is wrong. That's just my belief. So I hope that helps you sort of. I'm a medium, I'm a psychic, so I see things a little differently. Um, can I predict the presidency? Yeah, I've been doing that for, I mean, decades, decades. My coworkers, my clients would all come to me, and because I'm not political and I have that middle stance, I can see who's gonna win and who's not. I've already said this. This is my belief. This is what I'm getting. It hasn't changed. If it changes, I'll let y'all know. But I don't see us even having an election. And I know that's not what everybody's seeing right now. But I'm going to stick to that right now. I don't see us having an election. Um, and this may be very controversial. And again, I am not a warmonger. I do not like war, but I come from a family, I come from a lineage, and my husband too, who will do what it takes, right? Um, I don't know what they're trying to pull right now, but I do know I don't know what they're trying to pull right now, but what I'm seeing when I go in and look is I'm seeing that either we're going to do what we usually do and go find a war, or we're going to start one. Not, we're not going to start one. We're going to go find one, or we're going to go help. So we're going to be in war, and we're not going to have an election. That's what I see. That's what I've been seeing. I just don't see an election. But it's not just the war. Another thing could possibly happen. Um, President Biden, he isn't doing well. So I don't know what they're going to do. I just don't see, when I feel it, I don't feel an election. I just don't. Yeah, I can usually feel an election. I don't feel it. I know what an election feels like. I've been through enough of them, right? So I know when I go in that energy, I can feel an election. I can't feel an election. I don't feel. I feel void. I feel. Um, I guess you can call it darkness, emptiness, space, void. You know, that's what I feel. So, and then when I kind of back out of it, that's kind of what I'm seeing is that we go to either go to war or go help somebody in war. But this isn't anything that y'all can't see. I feel like we're going to that Taiwan's going to need help. That's what I feel like. Yeah, I feel like that. And again, I don't keep updates on what's going on all the time. I don't even watch the news. Um, so this is just me going by my own. I could be completely off. Um, but when I go in there, I don't see it. I just don't see it. So for those of you that are wanting to know my opinion of that, that's my opinion. I don't see anybody getting either elected or reelected. Uh, and as I get more, because it will open up more as we get closer. Um, as I get more, I'll let you guys know more. Let me know if that's, if you guys are even interested in that stuff. I know my people usually aren't. I mean, we're interested. It's a weird dynamic because and we care a lot, but we see the bigger picture, right? Like it has nothing to do with just the politics. It has a lot to do with ourselves, and it comes from us, and then we radiate it out, right? If that makes sense. But because we are in society and we want to participate in society and we want to help society move in the right direction, or move in the direction, by right direction I mean in the direction that we all see fit to go, right? Because there's not a right or wrong. um, if we want to accomplish that, then we have to engage. We have to not just use our energy, but sometimes we have to use our voice. Sometimes we have to, like I said, we have to do what we have to do. And trust me, my generation is not afraid to do it because they've been doing it. We're just really quiet about it. We don't have to, uh, like, I'll just use the generation above me, the boomers. The boomers are Leo. They're Leo Pluto, right? So they're Leo. They're a Leo generation. So they're loud and they're proud and they will go and use their voice. We are Virgo Libra, so we will see all sides of the situation and try to balance it out. I'm Virgo, but we have others that are Libra. Um, but we're very quiet about what we're going to do, and we like it that way. We like not being seen. We like that everybody forgets us. We like it that way. But trust me, we will do what we have to do because that's all we've ever done is what we've had to do. So I hope that helps. I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm just sort of opening up and seeing what's happening. I'm seeing kind of channeling and saying, but I know that's a topic that everybody's talking about right now. So I kind of wanted to like give you my input. We have bigger we have bigger things going on than America and their politics, right? Um, but it's not to say that the politics is not hurting us because it is. Um, and we have a lot of people in our society um, who are going without, who are becoming destitute, who are, you know, having to like, I've never seen where we've had to work so hard to barely put food on the table, right? Now, I heard of this with my grandparents, right? But we'd never been in a time like that. But we have been preparing for a time like I'm telling you, trust the Generation X knows what we're doing. We did for a lot of us, not everybody, but we didn't have anybody. So what we did was we learned very, very young to pull together. And that's kind of looks like what we've needed, what we're needing. So it's where we're going anyway. So yeah, I don't want to talk too much about that, but I just wanted to let you know my opinion. It's a very strange one probably. But it's a lot of what my generation. Now, I can't speak solely for my generation because if you know us and that generation, nobody can speak solely for our generation. We are all different, unique, but we know how to band together. And that's interesting because that's exactly what Pluto is going to show us. And that's what Pluto and Aquarius is going to show us how we can come together as groups, but still keep our anonymity and our independence, if that makes sense. Um, yeah. And I know the generation above us and two generations below us sort of have their Pluto is in a very different area. So collectively, they can be hurt in a different way than we can, if that makes any sense. So I know that they probably, I mean, everybody does. They ignore us, which is fine. You know what? We're more of the we'll just do it and not talk about it. That's kind of what we are. We're other generations are more of like we want to talk about it. And we're like, yeah, we don't want to talk about it. We're just going to do it and get it done. So, hi, Kathy. I need to email you. Um, nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Sorry about the lighting, everyone. I cannot open those blinds because I'm allergic to the sun and I don't have all my lighting equipment. So I just kind of got to do what I got to do. So enough about that. Enough about me talking about politics, which I abhor, but I know it's necessary right now. So I'm going to take you guys back to um, June 29th and July 1st. I'm going to do a recap and then we're going to come up to the present because we had a big movement yesterday. Chiron went retrograde yesterday. I keep pulling the world card when you think of me. That's so funny. I know. You know that's so I'm gonna cause so Kathy just said I keep pulling the world card with when you think of me. That's so funny. Um I feel like that Aquarius side of me, you know how the Aquarius symbol is like the water bearer? Like that's when I talk about that stuff, that's how I feel. I'm like, oh God, we gotta carry like this whole thing. What are we gonna do? You know, I know exactly. uh I'm trying to stay in my Gemini and Sagittarius side because they're what I need right now. I stayed way too long on my Aqua side. Or I hope y'all know what I mean by that. Like I just kept doing Aqua things instead of Gemini and Sagittarius. Because this is important. This is important. I said it in the other live. Where our focus goes, energy flows, right? So that's the first thing. That's why I'm bringing it all the way back to like ourselves. Wherever our focus goes, energy flows, right? So what are we going to be experiencing? What are you going to be experiencing, right? Um, but you need grounding. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I do. Usually my partners when I'm dating or my spouse is the one that grounds me. But now that I'm with my daughter, she's double Capricorn and an Aries sun. So she's a Capricorn moon and a Capricorn um, ascending, which is, and my grandbaby's a Virgo, um, which are both grounding. And so they're kind of what I need, right? They help me ground. Anyway, um, enough about that. Okay, so there's so much to talk about. I'm going to take you back to June 29th and July 1st. So June 29th, Saturn retrograded at, let me just take you back there real quick. Hold on. Um, okay. So June 29th, Saturn went retrograde at 19 degrees, right? Bear with me. This is all going to make sense. So June 29th, the end of June, Saturn went retrograde. I know we started feeling it. We had to become more aware of how, what we believe. Is it true what I'm seeing? Why am I having to work hard with the abilities that I have? All of that stuff, right? I still have not gotten to make that video. Then we go to July 1st. And July 1st, oops, sorry. Sorry. Then we go to July 1st, right? So July 1st, not at that time. It was at a different, it's July 1st. It was just at a different time. So I'm going to go to July 2nd. So some places it was July 1st, some places it was July 2nd, right? So by the 2nd, let's just say by July 2nd, we had both Neptune and Saturn retrograde, right? On top of, we had Pluto retrograde, right? And so in Pluto retrograde, we know that everything that Pluto showed us is he's having us go over it again, right? I've talked a lot about Pluto. I'll continue to talk a lot about Pluto. Some of you may not like that by year's end. You'll be like, oh my gosh, that's all it talks about is Pluto. I'm sorry, I'm channeling. That's all I can do. I can only give you what I get, right? So anyway, by July 2nd, we had Neptune retrograde. And then we had Saturn retrograde, right? And I've said this before, I'm going to say this again. Here's the thing. We think of Saturn as reality. We think of Saturn as materializing what we work hard for. He's father time, so he's in time, and in space. Does that make sense? So He's the very practical, responsible, structured, like Capricorn, right? And then we have Neptune, who is the complete opposite, is boundless, is spiritual, is connected to the other realms, is that's the way we think of them, right? But here's the thing. If you want a bigger understanding so that you can see different perspectives of the way that it's going to come out in your house and the way that it's going to come out globally in society, we have to remember just because Saturn is strict, how do I say this? So here's the thing. You can think of, and this is what I got from Saturn and Neptune, right? Because I told you as a medium, their characters, their personalities, and they could speak to me, right? Not in language that we have, but they speak to me. Saturn is reality. Saturn is what we consider reality, but is, let me just say this. Saturn is playing the part of reality when he's really not. And Neptune is playing the part of non-reality and spiritual when they're not. Does that make sense? So what we consider reality is Saturn, because what we consider reality is here. But on a bigger spectrum, that is not true. Saturn is disguising himself as reality, and Neptune is disguising herself as non-reality. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everybody? Saturn is yeah. Saturn, how do I say that? Saturn is Saturn has bigger parameters than we're giving him credit for. I can say it that way. Does that make sense to people? Hi, Karina. Saturn is spiritual. Saturn is more, but he's disguising himself as reality because that's the way that we see him, because he's in time and space. Yes, going to get my chart. Okay, good. And then Neptune, who all we think of as boundless, is the actual reality, right? So Saturn is disguising himself as reality, and Neptune is disguising herself as non-reality, as bigger, as better, but if we look at it from our soul level, this is not reality. This is somewhat of a type of reality where we come from is the reality. Does that make sense? Does that make better sense? I hope that makes sense. So you have to think of, from our perspective here on Earth, in the body, from our brain, we think of Saturn as the reality. We think of Saturn as bringing reality into material, when this is not even the reality. The reality is somewhere else. The reality is the core of us, right? Which is Neptunian, right? Saturn just knows how to structure all that when it comes through Saturn. And I'm saying all this because there's going to be parts of you. I know this is getting really deep, and I'm trying to conceptualize it for you. There's going to be parts of you that are going to be wondering what they believe in, why they believe in this, what's going on with this, right? I'll give you an example. Say you were a Christian and you were born a Christian, and then your family's a Christian, and that's all you've known is to be Christian. But the whole time, and this is actually personal, actually, now that I think about it. The whole time you're like, yeah, it's more than that. You're questioning it. You're questioning it. You're questioning. I don't believe in just this structure. I don't believe in what I'm being told. I don't see it. And you've questioned it all your life. This is just an example, right? And for as you get older and able to make your own choices, you decide you're not a Christian, right? But but you have this um, thing in you that wants to abide by, wants to honor your family. And so you have this turmoil going on of, I want to be a Christian, but I see that it's more. But I want to be a Christian because I don't want to dishonor my family, or I don't want to upset, you know, my spouse or my parents or my grandparents, and they've done nothing wrong, but I just see it as different, right? Um, you can say if you were gay, um, you know, um, you want to be, if you had that thing going on inside. I'm not, so I don't know. Please forgive me if I don't say it correctly. Remember, I'm a different generation. Um, so please be kind to me. But you want to be straight, but you can't be straight. But you want to be straight because you don't want to dishonor, and you don't want to go outside of society, and you don't want to, upset your parents, and you don't want to. But but you but you know that you're not straight, right? It's like that, and we're going to have these points for the next year or so, especially in 2020. Yeah, the end of 2024 and into 2025. And that's why I'm talking about, don't think of Saturn as just being strict, as just being father time. He's got other sides to him. And what he's saying, the way that he said it to me, and the way that I understood it, let's just say that, the way that I understood it is, I am disguising myself as the reality, and Neptune is disguising herself as the spiritual, where I'm really not the actual reality, right? Where we can connect. That makes sense? So you may wonder, why can't I be straight? Or why can't I just be a Christian? Or why can't I just be a Muslim? I mean, put a name to any religion. It doesn't matter. Why am I having this struggle? Right? And that's what's going to be happening over this next, that's what's happening now. We're trying to figure out, like, we have been told to be something, and we want to honor those people, but we can't. We would be forgetting ourselves. We would not be authentic. And that is the big message, is authenticity, right? It's important for us to be authentic to where we're going, right? And so with Saturn retrograde and Neptune retrograde, it's causing us to really peel off those layers, because the answer is that you're all of it. You've just chosen at this time to be a certain thing, but you can change that with understanding, right? And that's what Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces retrograde at 29 degrees. So look at Neptune. She's at 29 degrees. We are ending a belief system, right? We are ending an understanding and coming to a different understanding. For a lot of us, for many of us, I would say for all of us, actually, for all of us, we have been bogged down and made to feel a certain way, and made to think a certain way, and made to have a certain structure, and made to have a certain culture, and made to, because we were born in that. We don't want to upset people. How can, they're not doing anything wrong, but how could I believe differently? All of that, right? And because of that, we put a defense mechanism, or you can say we put a mask on. We put a mask on. Okay, I feel this way. This is the way that I believe, but it doesn't matter, because I don't want to upset people. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna put the mask on, and I'm gonna be okay, and I'm gonna be whatever it is. I'm gonna be straight, or I'm gonna be this religion, or I'm gonna be that religion, or I'm gonna be whatever, right? Um, and so for so long we have put those masks on, and what I'm getting from a lot of this is where we're going. There doesn't need to be the mask, but, and it's not just one mask that we have lots of masks, right? So we're like peeling off the mask, and that's what's going on with this Neptune and Saturn uh right now retrograde. It's causing you to like think and really see and really believe what you believe. There is no right or wrong, okay? You just had to do it a certain way because you were born from your, so here's the thing. From the other side, this is the way they show me. From the other side, when you are energy, you are spirit, right? You don't have, you're not bogged down by all of this masking, all of this stuff in your DNA because you don't have the DNA, your energy, right? And what we do as we're evolving, or as it's not even evolving over there, it's just sort of, this is what I want to do next because I really kind of want to experience that. I want to understand that. And I want to help, right? And so you're born into a lineage, right? And because we're all one, it doesn't mean that you never were that lineage. It just means at this time on this earth, when you were born, we came through to be into the vessel, into the meat suit. My husband used to call it the meat suit. Um, and with that comes the memory of the DNA of the lineage, right? And so this lineage believes that you have to be a Christian, or you have to be a Muslim, or you have to be, a whatever, a Buddhist or whatever, right? But your soul is like, I don't think I have to. Like, that's not what I believe, right? And so, but it's not like you didn't do that on purpose. It could be, and I'd have to look at your chart, and or we'd have to connect you with hypnosis or whatever. It could be that you came to either change that or you came to grow into that, right? Only you know that because it's you, it's your path, it's your path. That's why I used to call my channel your indigo path, right? Your clear path. Um, so Kathy says, as a teenager, I saw a whole. I'm sorry, I got to read it from the other one. Sorry, Kathy. As a teenager, I always saw holes in teachings. Yes, exactly. It's true. And you saw them because you're meant to question it. You're meant to try to understand from a different perspective because that's what you wanted to do. Now, there's several layers to that. Is it because you wanted to help this particular lineage? Is it because you've been in this lineage before and you came to finish that? Is it like it's different? And that's why I do hypnosis too, because you can kind of see, oh, this is why I'm doing this. This is what I'm trying to understand, right? But this, getting back to the astrology, because I'm telling you, there's so much. I'm going to have to take breaks. But I really wanted to delve into this Pisces, Neptune, and Saturn retrograde right now. So what this is doing is saying, what do I believe? I'm going to stand up, not what my parents believe, not what I was brought up to believe, not but what I've actually seen over my life. What do I believe? And am I believing that because I was told that and then I saw some evidence of that and so now I believe that? Or am I going to connect to myself, my higher self, my whole self, my truth, right? Because truth is a perspective, my truth, where my soul comes from, and what is my belief going to be, right? And and am I going to stand up for that? Am I going to be responsible, which is Saturn? Am I going to see it from both sides, which is Neptune and Saturn in Pisces house, which allows you, because that's Pisces, will allow you to see both sides, all sides, right? So Pisces to me is the vessel that's helping these two parts of you come together. Does that make sense? That may be like way out there. I'm sorry. I start channeling and I'm trying to conceptualize it and bring it back down here. But I haven't gotten to do this video. And I really wanted to do a video on Saturn itself and Neptune itself, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that in time. And I know we have a year, but still. Okay, so I want you to. So, what Saturn is saying is be kind to yourself. I am not just the rigid time. I am here to help you. All I'm asking you as I help you is to tell me what you really want, how you really believe. And telling me through the voice, telling me, like saying it, meditating, saying it, writing it is those are only one or two ways to let me know. What I really need from you is the way that the universal language is, right? The universe hears you, speaks to you. Like I tell you, they speak to me, but it's not our language. I need you, Saturn is saying, I need you to take some action to let me know that's where you want to go. That's what you believe. That's where you want to go. And then I will help you and open that up. But I already know as Saturn, you're going to say, I believe in this. And then I'm going to stop you and make you work for it. And you're going to be like, oh, well, I really didn't believe in that. I kind of believe in this. Like he knows us. He's part of us, right? We're part of him. He's part of us. So he's like, I'm going to test you to see if you believe this. And if you're faking it, you can still fake it and make it. But if you're faking it, if the one test makes you stop, then you really didn't want that. Because when your heart is in it and you really believe in something, you're not gonna stop. And that's my language. That's what Saturn is saying. I know that sounds like I know what I'm sounding like, but it's the only way that I can tell you guys. Like I'm trying to get you to get a different perspective of how these planets and what they're doing right now with their energies. They're here to help us. Where Neptune is like it's all open. The you have this universe and other verses. You have this universe, you have other dimensions. You are an all knowing, all omnipotent, omniscient being. What do you here? It's all for you. And Saturn's like, well, we can't bring it all here, right? So you got to tell me what part you want here. That's what I'm good at. That's what Saturn's saying. I just need you, because that's Saturn. I need you to be responsible. I need you to be clear, and I need you to take action. And that's kind of what's going on. This is what I've been talking about. He just wants to know what you believe, because there's a bigger picture, another layer going on, which is us moving into a better society, us moving into where we don't have to mask, where we won't offend people because of our belief, where we don't have to like lie about something. Hi, Lorna. Does all that make sense to everybody? I hope that makes sense. So that started July 2nd. Okay, that's just a part of it. Again, we have Pluto retrograde. And I know some of you are gonna have to watch this again. I'm trying. It's so hard when I'm trying to bring concepts from above, from different dimensions, into our brain. So I apologize if I'm not doing it correctly, but it is who I am. So either you'll understand when you understand, or you won't. You know. So by July 2nd, we have Pluto retrograde, which, remember, he's saying to Aquarius, see, remember, I told you this scenario. For those of you that have never seen me, I see them as characters. I see these planets as characters and as they have personality, right? And so Aquarius, because he's quirky and weird and doesn't like to show anybody that, when Pluto was coming to his house, leaving Capricorn, he only let him stay in the living room for a little bit, and that was last year. He like it's like only I'm only gonna let you stay in the living room. You can't like look in my house, but you can stay in the living room. And then he went back to Capricorn, and now he's come back to Aquarius. And when he came back, he brought some suitcases, and he said, and Aquarius said, okay, that wasn't so bad. I'll let you have a room, right? And so Pluto said, you're going to love it. I know you don't like to live with people. I understand your quirkiness. I'm going to follow your rules. It's going to be okay. And Pluto is, I know this sounds crazy, but this is how it is. This is how they talk. This is how I see it. And so Pluto was like, I'm going to show you what we can do together. Let's show them what we can do together. Look at the possibilities. We don't know what we're going to do yet, but let's show them what the possibilities are. And that's what he did as he went from 0 degrees Aquarius into 1 degree Aquarius. And that's what we've been looking at as a society, right? Because there's certain rules that Pluto has to follow because it's Aquarius's house, right? Aquarius is about the people. Aquarius is about the groups. Aquarius sees sees things very differently in a very unique way. And so for the first time, a lot of people had seen the possibilities of things we hadn't seen before, right? And that's what happened as he stayed in the room to the 1 degree. Okay, Pluto. But, Pluto says, well, if they're going to do this or if they can see this, they have to like get rid of this and they have to do that and they have to do that, right? That's a whole other thing. But I mean, I can go deep, deep, deep. You guys know I've been going deep with Pluto. So, because Pluto's in my 12th house, he's transiting my 12th house. So I'm going to see Pluto in a very different way, even than I see him today. So anyway, so now when Pluto decided to go retrograde, he said, okay, now that we've shown them, now that I've shown you, Aquarius, that I can follow the rules, that it's going to be okay, that I'm thinking about the people, we need to like go over each of these degrees again and show them and remind them and say, what do you want to keep as a society? How do you want to grow? What are the possibilities that you're seeing? All of that, right? In that same instant, in the same time period where he's at 1 degree right now, right? He is looking back at Capricorn and saying, I'm coming to finish stuff up. So he's kind of talking to both of them right now, right? Because we know energies don't stop and start. So he's kind of talking to Capricorn as well and saying, we got to finish what we started 15, 16 years ago. We have to finish that. And I know that some of it is stubborn and some of it doesn't want to come down. And it doesn't have to completely come down if it adjusts. We just need to change because where we're going is very different. And it's not about the structures. It's about the people. It's not about the systems. It's about the groups. It's not about what we have built in systems and what we are leaning too much on. It's about humanity leaning on each other when needed. Does that make sense? And that's what's happening as Pluto retrogrades. But he's still in Aquarius, so we're still seeing the possibilities. We already saw some possibilities and we're like, okay, we're stronger than we think. We can see things. AI's coming, blah, 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 like all of that, right? But we're still looking at these structures that are having to fall. And the closer that Pluto gets to Capricorn, we're going to fall. I mean, structures are going to fall. Systems are going to fall, right? Or they're going to change. They're going to adjust. And I told you guys 6 to 8 months ago, even structures and systems that you don't think can fail, what did we just see? We completely saw a system like not working because what they said that they were, I don't know, fixing issues or something. Anyway, I'm telling you, even the ones that think and look at our government. I've said this. I said this a while back. Even systems that you don't think could ever fail, they will come down if they're not going to adjust, right? And that's just the truth of it. So, At least that's what I'm getting. At least that's what I'm getting when I'm conversing with them. Okay, so then we go to July 2nd, and by that time we have Pluto, we have Saturn, we have Neptune. So we're looking at our belief system, not the one that we were told to, not the one that, we didn't want to upset anybody about, not the one that we knew as a child, because a lot of us, what we believed as a child, we don't believe anymore. We've grown from that. We've seen better. We've done different, right? So what is it that we believe, right? That's what we're working on now with this retrograde. And we'll be working on it for a while. So as things come to us, we're like, well, I used to believe that, you know, like I'll give you an example since we're talking about political stuff. Back in the day, decades and decades ago, I was a military wife. I believe in America. I believe in the military. I believe, I was that. My belief system has changed. It's changed. I've had a lot of loss, uh, through the military, through the government. I don't believe what I used to believe, right? So, same thing with you guys. You may not believe what you used to believe. And that's what Saturn was saying. Be kind to yourself. It's okay because it's not just this reality. You have belief systems from different places that you've been, different incarnations that you've been, from your whole self, your higher self. That makes sense? And take it all in and know that whatever you believe is your unique mark. And it's okay because we're moving into a space in the next 20 years where we don't have to hide any of that. Does that make sense? Okay. So the more material stuff about this, and not just the spiritual, energetic, psychological stuff about this, the more material stuff about this is when Neptune goes retrograde and Saturn goes retrograde in Pisces, they're asking you to, when I look at this, I look at Pisces and then I look at the opposite at Virgo, right? Saturn is saying, if you're responsible and you show me some action, which is the language to tell me what you want, but I'm asking you to know what you believe first, the action is Virgo, right? It would be like organize it, conceptualize it, write it down, take an action. That's a Virgo thing, right? Plan it out. That's all Virgo. That's how you can see it's a clue. It's the opposite. If you do Virgo stuff in your belief system, in your beliefs, in your dreams, Neptune, and what you want to be responsible for, Saturn, within time, if you take some planning and some action and some organization, then I, with Neptune, will materialize your dreams. But what are your dreams? Are your dreams, because what y'all been dreaming is what you've been told to dream. I want the house. I want the marriage. I want the school. I want the car. I want the blah, blah. Is that what you really want? Or is that what you think you want or think you need because of the way society is? That's what I'm getting to. That's what Saturn is saying. He's giving us the chance with Neptune to really think about what our dreams are, what we want to manifest. And then once you understand that, for yourself and believe that, I told you, bear with me, would come together. Virgo it out, plan it, write it, take an action, go take the first steps of it, and it will open up. But again, he will test you. He's going to test you. So he is going to say, do you really believe that? Or is that what you were told to believe? Or is that what you believe because that's what you think is going to keep you safe and secure, right? Or do you really believe that? Right? So that's what's going on there. He's just asking you to take some action, do some things. That's what he and Neptune are asking you. Exactly. This Virgo can do that. So here's the thing. As a Virgo, you can absolutely Virgo it out, right? What you're going to have problem with is being truthful about what your dream is, right? Because you can Virgo it out and you can even work well with Saturn, but what are your real dreams? That makes sense? Okay. And then we move into the famous right now. So we had all those planets retrograde, and then we move into the 15th, 16th, 17th, right here. This Mars Uranus, right? Uranus in Taurus, I told y'all probably a year ago. Uranus in Taurus is going to cause a whole bunch of earthquakes, hurricanes, stuff with the weather, but stuff having to do eruptions. Like that's Uranus um, in Taurus. Taurus is grounding, Taurus is earth, Taurus is food, Taurus is the ground, Taurus is the dirt, right? Um, I said with Uranus in there, it's going to make things unstable. That means because Taurus is the second house, rules the second house, that's his house, our resources are becoming unstable. And I'd said somewhere along the way, he won't start disrupting until after the 23rd degree or 22nd degree is usually when they start the BS from my point of view. so so once Uranus, who loves rebellion, who is changes crap on a dime, because you guys know my chart is ruled by Uranus, so it can change quick, right? It disrupts, it rebels, it wants you, and it does this because it wants you to have freedom, because that's what you've been asking for, right? So it wants you to have freedom. When Mars went in there, we all knew because the star Algol was there as well, right? And so if you put that space on the chart of Donald Trump and on the chart of Joe Biden, Donald Trump, we knew it had something because Mars is sharp weapons, cutting, right? That's Mars, and it's aggressive, right? And Uranus is like, let's shake. I hate to curse, but let's shake shit up so that we can be free of this bullshit, right? That's basically what he's saying. And then the star Algol has to do with heads of state being cut off, right? Um, like Medusa. Okay, so we knew astrologers. I couldn't get on to tell you guys, but we knew a lot of astrologers that were looking at this stuff. Um, that something was going to happen. We also knew, and I said this right before this happened to Joe Biden, um, that his because it was in the sixth house. That's your health and your well-being. That's your body, right? That's not your body as in the first house, but it's your health and well-being, your daily routine. Something was getting cut. Something was going to be changing. Something, right? And it just so happens that he took himself out of the race, and he got COVID, right? So we can kind of see all this stuff. I don't think it's finished. I think when I look at Donald Trump's chart and what's going on, I'll give you another prediction. I feel like something else happens to him. I feel like something else is going to happen to him. I feel like we're not done with Joe Biden either. So, yeah, I kind of feel like something's going to come out with Joe Biden and his like he's just not doing well. He's just not. I don't care whether they tell us that or not. I can feel he's not doing well. Um, so that's my prediction for them. I feel like there's either another attempt on. I can tell I've grown because I'm actually telling you guys. Um, I'm sorry. That's why I was pausing because I was like, oh, I'm actually telling you this. So I feel like there may be another attempt on Donald Trump. Am I 100% right all the time? No. No, but when I go in there and I look, and then I see in the chart, like it's right there. You can see it. Not anything that's hidden. It's right there. So, yeah, but anyway, as this conjuncted, which means there were, as this went conjunct, as these two went conjunct, we knew there was going to be some disruption on a societal level. Why on a societal level? Because we are in Aquarius energy, Pluto. Pluto's our, see, remember about what, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, when I was saying, as we move through this North Node, as these planets had come by and talked to Pluto, they were talking about stuff, right? And so every time they aspect Pluto, there's still that ongoing conversation. Remember, so basically, Pluto is like, remember what we said for the good of humanity. Why? Because we're in Aquarius energy. For the good of humanity, for the space that we're going to, I need you. He's basically told Uranus, remember that conversation we had? I need you to show out. And Mars, I need you to do your thing, because we got to get human, you societally, on the track that they want to be. We got to get them to the space that they're trying to go. So for that to happen, I need you guys to do your thing. Does that make sense? Can you guys tap and let me know that you're still here? I know that when I talk a lot, you guys are so kind and you don't say a word, but then I'm thinking, am I still on? Can you guys tap? Give me hearts. Give me hearts. That would be great. Thank you. Thank you. I was just waiting for the hearts. Thank you. I appreciate it. And for those of you that have never seen me, again, my name is Cindi. Um, I'm at Simply Cindi. I am a medium. I love astrology. I have other tools. I do tarot and hypnosis, um, and mediumship and other things. It's so much I don't even say. Anyway, um, thank you for joining me. Um, I am going over what has happened, recapping what's happened, and then we're about to go into what happened yesterday, and then we're going to move on to the end of the month. And it's not going to stop. We have August and September. Yeah, it's not going to stop. Next month is pretty wild, pretty revealing, and pretty messy. We'll just say that. Okay. So, um, let me see. Okay, so then we move into July 16th. It was 15th, 16th, 17th, right? And there is some things that's my prediction. My prediction is there's going to be another attempt on Trump, and there's something that's going to be revealed about Biden. Okay? And it has to do with him, his body. And honestly, well, I won't go into that right now. Anyway, so then we go up to the 22nd, which is Leo season, right? So the 22nd, it's Leo season, right? So there's Leo season right here. The sun moves into Leo, which was opposing Pluto, right? And so something personally, I'm talking to you guys personally, look in your chart. Where is Aquarius? Where is Leo? Something was being revealed. How do I say this? Something was being revealed to you, and still is being revealed to you, that may make you feel vulnerable, that may make you feel like, yeah, almost naked, right? It got you to see a part. Pluto got your sun, your ego, to see a part of you. And it could be that you never get represented for the things that you do. And now all of a sudden you're in the limelight and you're like, well, I'm not used to that. I don't really like it. Right. Or it could be that you are a lot in the limelight and you see that you're leaving too much into that. Right. It kind of depends. But as Leo season has come in, there's something or some way because in the house of Leo, you have Mercury and you have Venus, right? And so it's a loose conjunction here. I like my conjuncts at the most 3 degrees, but there may be something in the way that you've had relationships or had things that you wanted, because it's Venus, right? But Pluto was aspecting and is revealing something about yourself that you may feel embarrassed about, that you may feel vulnerable about. Um, and I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but that's what was happening on the 22nd. Again, we have Neptune retrograde, we have Saturn retrograde, we have Pluto retrograde, and we're about to now so on the 27th, 26th yesterday. 26. So 26. So yesterday Chiron went retrograde, right? And Chiron kind of did the same thing that the Sun and Pluto. See how they're still aspecting? They're still going opposite. What do I want versus what am I leaning too much on? What am I not seeing? Because Leo is a self, right? Where Leo is about independence and about the single, where Aquarius is about the group, right? And so there was something about what you want versus what they want, or the way that you do it versus including them, and where before you may have not included anyone, that was being revealed to you. And it's Pluto and it's retrograde, so it is internal. It's not like anything could have happened on the outside. It's something that you saw within yourself that you may have been embarrassed about, or you may have not wanted to realize that part of yourself, right? So I hope that's a better explanation. But now we have Chiron, and Chiron is retrograde yesterday. Chiron retrograde. Chiron is another big wound. This is a wound that can be healed. That's Pluto. It takes lifetimes to heal it, but that doesn't mean for you that you can't heal it in this lifetime, because this may be the actual lifetime that you heal it, right? And I think for a lot of us it is. But this is a wound that you don't heal. And I think that's a misconception that some astrologers have, right? The Chiron you don't heal. He is the wounded healer. It's through his helping and to heal others by what he knows that he relieves the pain of his wound. So you can think of it like that. Wherever Chiron sits in your chart, there's a wounding there. It is not going to be healed. It is not meant to be healed. It is meant for you to become the master almost at whatever the situation is, the issue is that keeps coming over and over and over and over, that you finally grasp, oh, well, it gets better when I do this. And then as you teach others, because you see it in them, the wound begins to relieve, the pain begins to be relieved from the wound. So it's not so tender anymore, right? So yesterday, when it went retrograde, because it's been in here since 2018. Hold on, I got notes. Hold on a second. So yeah, 2018. So the spring of 2018, and it will be in Aries till 2027, right? So we're at the 7-year mark for Chiron, and it is going back over. It is going back over the points, almost like a chapter, right? It's going to go back over the points that it helped you learn to grow with. Does that make sense? So let me break this down. Let's just say Chiron entered Aries in 2018. So in 2018, Chiron was asking us, because he entered Aries, who are you? What are you identifying as? What do you say that you are? Who do you believe that you are? Because Aries is the self, it's the identity, right? Aries is also the warrior. Aries is also one who will just charge ahead and take some risk, right? Um, Aries is very independent. Um, yeah, very independent. And Aries will charge ahead and break new ground. So, like pioneering, right? So, when Chiron went in there, he's saying, who are you? What do you believe that you are? Like for some of us, right? And why are you doing this when you really believe this? Why are you being this way with people when you really believe this? Why are you doing that when you really should be doing this? And that's what Chiron was asking us as it transits into, as it's been transiting into Aries, in Aries. It's like, who are you? Well, let me show you. When you do this, there's this wound here. So wherever that is in your chart, you could have been um, being shown why. I mean, you didn't do it that way, or every time I do something, it gets stopped, or I end up getting hurt, or it could be in a relationship. Like if it's in the seventh house, it's about relationships. Are you giving too much? Do you not give enough? Are you paying attention to them? Do they pay attention to you? Are you attracting those people that are unavailable? Are you attracting people that are too available? Are you attracting people that are obsessive? And this doesn't just mean in romance, it means in any relationship, right? Do you have parents that are on top of you all the time trying to figure out what you're doing, da, 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 or do you have parents that neglected you, right? That's the wound. Those are the types of wound. That's just the seventh house. In the first house it would be like, who am I? Have I gotten to be who I really wanted to? Because where I came from, we had no resources. I was told to be quiet. There was a smarter sibling, whatever. All right, second house. I'll go through the house in a minute, but this is what Chiron in this house has been doing, in this sign, in Aries. Who are you? Right? Same. But honestly, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's the whole story. Same thing here. What do you believe? Who are you? What do you believe? Who are you? What do you believe? Right? Aries, Chiron's asking, who are you? And Pisces, Neptune, Saturn asking, what do you believe? Right? That makes sense. And we're moving into the North Node. So this means we are trying to find, no, we were meant to find who we really are, who we're going to be here, right? Because everything that went through this North Node, the North Node means where we want to go, where we want to be, what we're trying to discover, what we're trying to evolve. All that makes sense. I'm just trying to put it all together. So if you guys could let me know how, if you're understanding this, if this is okay. I may need to take a break. My throat is getting dry. I may go to like the intermission. I can still talk to you guys for a minute, and then I may have to like take a break for about 5 or 10 minutes. Um, but can you guys let me know how this is going? If you're understanding, um, do you have any questions? Good. Thank you, Kathy. Thanks for letting me know. I can tell you a lot of this I've channeled, so I'm probably getting back into that space again. So I can sort of go off and then forget that I'm even talking to you guys. And then if it's not making any sense, how does the this affect a progressive chart? How does it affect the progressive chart? It depends on where. A progressive chart is way different than what we're doing now, but where have you progressed to? right? That's like a whole other thing. Um, how do I say that? So are you, thank you. So are you, your progress chart is right now in Aquarius, or it moved to Aquarius? Is that where Chiron went in your progress chart? Because what I'm talking about is just the plain Placidus chart. What I'm talking about is what's going on right now, not what's going on in your cycle. That's a whole different thing. So if Chiron is in Aquarius, it would almost be like, yeah, no, no, that's okay. I'm glad you asked the question. Um, but like if Chiron was in Aquarius in your progress chart, it would kind of in this instant be like Pluto, except for that the difference between them is that the Pluto wound can be healed and the Chiron will never be healed. Does that make sense? So you can look to see what house in your progress chart it is. And I have a Pluto series that I have not finished. But if it's in one of the houses that I've done, you can look at that chart. I mean, you can look at that video and it will tell you how it's going to sort of manifest in your life. Because I do transits and the natal chart. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was still here, that everybody can hear me. All right. So in so Chiron has gone retrograde. He went retrograde yesterday, and he will be retrograde until December 29th, because that's a long time. So he's going to have us like every other planet right now. So not only are we having to figure out what we believe in and where we're going, Pluto, with the group and how we're going to be doing things differently, Pluto and Aquarius, but what we believe and how we want to do it, which is Saturn and Neptune and Pisces. But who are we? How do we want to be in this world? What do we want to identify as in this world? What do we want? Right? That's Chiron. What is it that every time that I try to do something for myself, like this is an example. As an Aries, I try to do something for myself, and when I do, I get hurt. Somebody betrays me, or somebody lies to me, or somebody takes something from me, or somebody like that's a scenario. That's just an example of how it can come out, right? And so, depending on where this where Aries is in your chart right now, will depend on what type where you're what you're trying to identify yourself as in that area of life. Does that make sense? And you'll be going back over that. This is not something new. This is something you've been working on since 2018, right? Your life has probably changed a lot because of it. You probably no longer give too much, or you probably give more than you used to give, or you're probably a little bit more balanced in it, right? This is just one of the chapters before it ends in 2027. But this is a really deep, specific one. So, um, and the reason that this one is so important is because where it went retrograde with the moon, how do I feel? How am I perceiving things? What am I'm just checking in with myself, right? The reason it's going to go direct right here at 19 degrees, right? It's going to go in December, it's going to go direct at 19 degrees. The reason that it's so important, and this is really interesting because there's another thing I got to show you guys. Uh, the 19th degree is where we had the eclipse. And remember what the eclipse was. It's a portal. It was our evolution. It was us moving through a different space. It was us moving through the space that we're in now. That's the 19 degrees. So with Chiron going back here, he's saying, what did you change? Are you being authentic in this area of your life? Have you become the warrior in this area of your life? It's just been a little bit, just been from 19 to 23 degrees, right? So how have you seen it? Have you worked with this wound? Have you worked with these people that you've realized, okay, I'm going to keep them in my life, depending on what house, right? I'm going to keep them in my life, but I've got to, I'm reevaluating. I'm, but it's important because it's the spot when it turns direct, you're going to come to a lot of clarity because that's where the North Node, that's where we had the eclipses at the 19th degree of Aries. So that's activating, and it's funny that the moon was there. So it's how you were feeling yesterday and today. Like, how are you feeling about this area of life, which was the same area of the way that we had to move through to the newer space? Does that make sense to you guys? Am I being independent? Am I saying what I really want? Am I being the warrior in this? Am I doing it way differently, probably, than the rest of my family and my friends and my whatever? Because that is Aries. Am I being the warrior in this and pioneering? Am I being independent enough? Am I leaning too much? Like, that's the Chiron in Aries. It's trying to teach us who are you. It's almost like Saturn, where Saturn is like testing you. It's Chiron as well, but you get a wound with that. And again, that wound is not going to heal. That wound is it's a wound that you have to work with, and as you work with it, the pain will lessen. Okay, so before I take a break, let me go over, if Aries falls in your first house and you have Chiron there, right? This is about you and your self identity. It's about you having your own independence and your power, right? Um, it's about, maybe people have told you that you're not good enough, that you didn't do enough, that you're not doing it right, that you, all that stuff, right? And this is where you understand that it doesn't matter what they say as long as you're okay with yourself. This is where you gain your power, right? This is the wound, the pain there. Over the last of 2018, you may have become angry at that area, and just out of balance. Like, am I asserting myself in the same way? Should I be asserting myself more here? Like, you've been working on this since 2018, right? So in the second house, which is the Taurus house, if you have Chiron in the second house, and this is where I have Chiron in the second house, and it's transiting right now in Aries in the second house. So for me, and I've talked about this, my self-worth. And I say this in that second house Pluto series. It's like it acts like Chiron. I mean, Chiron is acting like Pluto for me in that second house. Am I worthy? Am I stable? Do I have enough resources, right? How do I think of money? How do I think of resources? How do I think of food? How do I think, because that's a Taurus house, right? So what I've been asking, because it's in Aries, and anybody with a second house Chiron will be asking, um, do you truly value yourself? Do I truly value myself? You know, do I have any value? Do I have any worth? What am I doing? And those are things I've been questioning, right? So, oh, you're welcome. My helpful tips, Kathy. Yeah, that's right. So a lot of us my age, or it could be second house, like Chiron, and then we've had our return, and it's going to, like, it's been staying in there. So in the third house, so that's, we're going to be dealing with that until we get it. And what we're going to do is we're going to test ourselves. am I worthy enough? Can I do this? Did I da da da? Like, we're going to test ourselves. And that's the wound. Like, we continue to do that until we master these things, and then we see them in other people and we can help, right? It's never going to go away, but the pain will subside, right? Now, in the third house, a Gemini house, it's maybe you were told that your thought process is not good enough, or your since 2018, if this is transiting, um, or you know, are you thinking correctly? Are you communicating correctly? Did you do too much communicating? Did you do not enough communicating? All of that, and um, with Chiron there and helping you understand the balance in that and your power in that. Okay. In the fourth house, which is Cancer, this is about where you came from. This is about where your roots are. This is about your DNA, right? This is about like you identifying with your DNA. You, oh, um, I'm sorry. Give me just a second, everyone. Sorry, my grandbaby came back from the pool. So anyway, Uh, so the fourth house has to do with um, your lineage, where you came from. Um, and it could be like you being ashamed of where you came from, or you not understanding where you came from, or you not knowing where you came from, right? This has been being worked on. And now that it's in retrograde, maybe some information has come up, maybe some understanding has come up, but it's going to cause you to like, who am I? Where did I come from? It's going to cause you to rethink all of this, assimilate all of this. Does that make sense? And in the fifth house, if Chiron is in the fifth house, which is on the chart, this has to do with your creativity. This has to do with, it could have to do with your children too. Like the relationships may have changed, the understanding may have changed. There's a wound there that needs to be healed. Um, and I mean, that's been going on for ages, right? With all of us. Like I can see that where our parents didn't believe what we believe, and we kind of didn't understand why they didn't believe that, and then having a daughter, she believes totally different than I believe, and all of that. So when it's the fifth house, it could be your children, a a wound there that needs to be healed, um, which is interesting because you as a parent, or you as a child actually too, could think that you did the best and that you did what was right, or that you were fair, or that you whatever. And their perspective, because they're a different generation or they're a different person, could be they were awful. They didn't care. They didn't do. They didn't da da da. Why weren't they so emotional? Why didn't they hug me? Why didn't they, all of that, right? And so, but it's not just that, it has to do with the creativity too. So you could have been since 2018 not able to do what you did before, or being stunted, or stuck, like the creativity doesn't come, or I don't have the resources to be able to do what I want, or and that has to do with my passion and I really want to do it, right? Or for some of you, it could be dating because romance is in there. That's been stunted. Does that make sense? So, in this retrograde, you've worked through some of it. It's not, this part is not going to go away. It's not going to heal. But as you understand it and you learn to work with it, then the pain will subside. Does that make sense? In the sixth house is the Virgo house. We know that. So the wound is about mastery. The wound is about your body. It's your daily routine. It could be your socializing too. right? Because you socialize with your coworkers and your whatever, right? And so since 2018 and now from the 19th degree, when we came to an understanding through the eclipses, it's like um, you could have understood that I don't have to be perfect in or don't have to completely master this thing, this the way that I make my day. I don't have to be, the superhero mom or the superhero dad or the superhero whatever. I've put too much pressure on myself. You know, I can sort of relax and understand, even though there's a lot to do. Like all of that could have been changed too. That you're going to be sort of working out. In the seventh house, that's a Libra house, so it's relationship. So the wound is around relationships. Are you attracting the right people? Do you give too much? Do you not give enough? Do you like go into relationships fully knowing that they cannot commit and still want to try? Are you going into relationships fully knowing that they are emotionally unavailable and you still do it thinking you're the one that's going to make them change, right? Are you like all of that? It has to do, and that's just romance. Could be with your parents. Um, Knowing that you cannot tell them the truth about something, but you do it so that you shock them or you upset them, or knowing that when you tell the truth, whatever this is, you're going to be there's a wound there about you being yourself. Aries, identity. Who am I? The warrior, the pioneer. Yes, we haven't done this. This is the pioneering part, and this is the warrior part. Yes, in my family, we've never done relationships like this, but I am the pioneer, and I owe it to myself to do it like this. Am I going to hurt some people? Yes. But do I really have to tell them what's going on in my personal life like that? Probably not. So maybe I don't hurt them. Maybe I take the moon by not saying anything, right? Does that help you understand how Chiron works? Um, so whatever this is, that's just the romantic part. It could be in partnerships, any type of partnerships, any type of relationships, your friendships. Are you always picking the friend that doesn't pay much attention to you until she needs you or he needs you? Are you picking the friend that totally obsesses about you, right? Like, you're having to come to an understanding about this. There's a wound there that you need to like balance and fix. Okay, so the eighth house, if Chiron and if Aries is in your eighth house right now, this one is around betrayal and intimacy and going deep and um, having contracts with people or having contracts with things like systems, right? It could be that you had a contract as a teacher or like me in the healthcare field. You have contracts, as a doctor, as a whatever, whatever, right? And there's a wound around this where there's betrayal, or you're having to give up some intimacy, or they have, um, you could have even had a loss of a loved one here because this is like partnership that there's a wound around, right? This is contracts that there's a wound around. So there could be marriage that someone is widowed now. Um, could be inheritances. Did somebody betray you and you didn't get your inheritance, or did it go into probate? Is it probation? I forgot the word for it, but it could have gone into. Is it what's the word? Is it prohibition? What's the word? Why can't I think of the word? It's because I'm channeling. Um, it's could have gone into probate. Thank you. My higher self just said it. It could have gone into probate. Maybe you were inherited this house, but it went into probate. You didn't get it. You didn't have the resources. Like something was lost, right? And so what you're trying to work through in this Chiron, because again, you can't heal it, but you can work with it. So you just learn to be better about your boundaries. You just learn to say, oh, I already know because they're acting this way, what's going to happen. So I'm not going to take this one. right? Or this person's way too giving and it's going to make me feel guilty and things are going to go wrong. So no, I'm not going to do that either. Or this one seems pretty balanced. This is who I want to work with. And then you enter a contract with that. Does that make sense? Ninth house would be a wound about a wound of your belief systems. So your belief, what you thought you believed, what you understood that you believed, what you were told to believe and grew up believing. There's a wound around that. There's a wound of you going and discovering what it is that you believe in. And that's a big thing with the Neptune, Saturn, and Pisces thing, right? But it has to do if you are, so if you've got that right now and you've got um Aries, you got Chiron and Aries, you definitely are like going to have an awakening or having an awakening or having parts of, because it's levels of awakening. So um it is your job, if you have these placements, basically to go study, go figure it out, go experience, go widen your perspective, go understand different things that you never understood before. That's how you work with this. Are you going to upset some people? Probably, because there's a wound there. But this may be the lifetime that you get to do this because you didn't get to do that in the other lives, because there was some sort of system, a caste system, or a or you were, a peasant and not the king or queen, or you came from no money, or you came from no resources, and now you, now you're in a society that you're able to do this, right? That is what you should be doing. Um, if you have a ninth house Aries right now in your natal chart because it's transiting, um, yeah. So your 10th house, if Chiron goes into Aries in your 10th house, then you have a wound about, this one's a hard one. You have a wound about not just your reputation, a wound about how people see you, a wound about how you are seen, but you also have a wound about your purpose. You have a wound about knowing what you want to do. You have a wound about understanding who you are and what you want to be out in the world. So, and when you do it, thank you, probate. And when you do it, it's like when you do try to do something that you want, it's like it's not good enough, or it's not really what I wanted. Like it's this wound that keeps happening, right? And so you do need to go experience, like, you do, if your heart is telling you something, you need to go try to find that, fix that, do that, right? You need to honor yourself, basically, and you need to understand that people are going to see what they're going to see. It has nothing to do with who you really are. You show them who you are, and then they have their perspective, right? That's how you can deal with the wound. um, if the wound is, I mean, if Chiron is in your 11th house, which is Aqua, um, the wound is around groups and circles and maybe even like social media. It could be, it could just even be the internet. It could be AI. It could be any of that, right? That there's a wound there, whether it's you, your friendships in that, and the way that you work in those circles, or maybe you're in the wrong circles. I just went through Pluto through my 11th house. What I had to do was step away, figure out who I was, and then have my have the group have myself attract the group that's right for me. But that means I had to be authentic, right? So you can work it this way, and you have been working it this way. Maybe you're coming to that understanding. This is just retrograde, where it's like something is going to come about that's going to test that, that's going to make you stand in your truth, right? And then the last is the 12th house wound, which right now Pluto's in my 12th house, even though we're talking about Chiron, but they act a lot alike because they're wounds, right? Um, and you guys know I've been trying to explain the 12th house to you since it's been transiting. It's like the space that you can't see. So whatever this wound is, you can't see it, but you do have other senses. So you can use your other senses to understand it, right? So And you may have like this wound, you don't know it, you don't understand it, you don't see it. Like, I'm trying to think. Some people are afraid of like spiders, right? They've never been bitten by a spider. Nobody's ever uh, made them afraid of spiders. They have never had any bad contact with spiders, but they are deathly afraid of spiders. They shake whenever they see a spider, but they don't know why. Because this could be coming from other lives. This could be coming from other dimensions, right? That's the 12th house wound. Like, you have this wound, this fear or this hurt or this pain or whatever, and you don't know where it comes from. It's just there, right? This is where as a as a medium or as a hypnotherapist, I can help, because we connect you to your higher self, and then you can see, that's a question you can ask. But this is something that you've been working on, but you can't see it, so it's really hard. It's really hard to like grasp what you're even supposed to do, right? Because it's in your 12th house. But there also could be betrayals in here. There could be the fact that you don't see when things are coming. There could be the fact that you don't see when people are betraying you until it's done and everything's taken from you. That could be a wound in there. Okay. So I'm going to take a break. Um, yeah, because it's almost going on 2 hours. So I'm going to take a break. And then when I come back, we're going to move on to August, because there's a lot more. Yeah. So I hope that helps. Before I take my break, can you guys let me know if you have any questions? Was that really helpful? If you've never seen me, if you can subscribe, if you can share. I hope you were understanding this. I hope this helps. Yeah. So I apologize again for the lighting. I cannot open that blind because I'm allergic to the sun. So, but I need to rest my voice, and I need to get out of this artificial light for a little bit. So I'm just going to do an intermission if nobody has any questions, but I'll wait for a second and see if people have questions. Thank you, Kathy. Let's see. I'm just reading. So each of you guys, can you tell me where so I already know Kathy's, right? Kathy, yours is in the second house like mine. Does everybody know where their Chiron is? August is my birthday month, so I'm very interested in what's going on. Oh, yeah. I want to show you this other thing too. So before we do the August, I am going to show you what I found yesterday. Because everybody keeps telling me, I'll leave a cliffhanger. Everyone keeps saying the same thing. I feel like something's coming. I feel like something's coming. I feel like something's coming. I feel like there's a big change. I feel like it, right? Like they'll ask me what's going on. Like, I'm feeling this, right? And so I can actually show you guys in the chart what's going on. And I know some of you guys have said it on other lives that I've had. Like, I feel like something's coming. I can't sleep. What's going on, right? My higher self, thank God, found the answer. I'm gonna show you guys when I come back. All right, so I'm gonna put the intermission. See if I do it right. I am going to mute my microphone this time because the other night I did not. And then I will be back in like 15, 20 minutes. Okay. Bye, guys. Thank you. September is crazy. Bye, guys. I'll see you in a little bit. Oh, and by the way, you guys can talk amongst yourselves. I mean, you're welcome to like do that, or you can go and get your soda, tea, coffee, candy, snacks. Get all nice and comfy because I'm telling you, this live is going to be long. I'm talking hours. Hours. Well, it's already like 2 hours. So think of another 2 or 3. Okay. So I hope you guys have the time because I just don't see any other way for me to do this. Like trying to do videos, it's just not. My grandbaby is just, he needs me. And then my daughter, we just moved, and we just moved in. We just moved in. We're still unpacking. We're still trying to like settle everything down. So I'm like, the best way to do this is lives. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna go do my thing for a little bit. Um, I just realized we have a camera thing. Hold on just a second. Again, David doesn't know. I mean, David's not helping me, so I'm having to do this by myself. Oh, there you go. See, I found it. David will be proud of me. Anyway, I'll be back in like 15 minutes. Okay, is everybody ready? Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Everybody have a nice break. I got to go downstairs and hug my grandbaby who is throwing a fit because he wants to be in here. Everybody back. Everybody getting settled in. This is the really cool thing that I wanted to show you guys. So, let's see. Can you guys tap the hearts? Let me know you're here. Make sure that you can hear me. For those of you that are just seeing this or going to be seeing this later, and just joined my live, welcome, welcome. My name is Cindi. I'm at Simply Cindi. I am a medium. I love astrology. I have a lot of tools in my basket. So right now we have been going over all the retrogrades. Got your tea, Kathy? Okay, thank you. We've been going over all the retrogrades, what's been happening. I started it June 29th, and you can go back and look at that. And then we talked about Chiron and how it's working in the house of Aries and where that particular thing is in your chart and how that might be working through the wound in your chart, right? And after I finish the Pluto series, I'm gonna do a series for each planet and how it works in the natal chart. So, but I have a lot of catching up to do, and there's so much going on in the skies that that I haven't had time to like finish my series. And that's the series is going to be more about teaching you guys your natal chart and how these planets work, you know, the way that they talk to me, the way that I understand them. So, thank you for joining. If you guys could like, subscribe, and share. The algorithm doesn't know me anymore. I've been on since 2012, 13, somewhere through there. Yeah, I can't remember when. But I've been back and forth off and on YouTube, and I tried to come back 6 months ago, and then I just had to move again for I would say, I'm not going to say for the last time because I'm not in the town that I want to be in. So I probably have one more move, and that's exactly where I want to be. So I have you on, and oh, wow. You're really seeing me. I gotta back away. Oh, that's funny. But you know what? It's really cool that you can see the chart that big too, so that you can really see where I point my pointer and I'm showing everything. Okay, so before we go on to the August and the craziness and the weirdness that's going to be going on in August, because it's going to be wild. It's going to be revealing though. It's going to be like you're going to be able to see a lot of stuff that you're not seeing yet, or that you're a little bit confused about. I don't feel like you're confused. I feel like you're just sort of, all right, let me just kind of feel everything out, right? It's kind of where I feel. I love you too, Kathy. Thank you. Um, I don't feel the confusion that I felt last summer. I don't feel the angst or the anger or the frustration. I don't feel that. Now, are there things going on in our society that make us angry? Sure, but I don't feel like the big angst, anger, why isn't anything moving kind of thing. I feel like y'all are in a good place. But as the months go on, things are going to be revealed. And August, I know we've been saying this a lot, June, July, August. I'd said this months ago. Like these are really progressions forward, and what I needed everybody to do at the time and still need everybody to do is you need to stay checked in with yourself. It's got to come from yourself. And that's how we're going to progress it out. Right. So I'm trying to get you guys clear within yourselves. That's not an easy task because we have been masking, we have been doing uh, what others required of us, what society wanted from us, what we were told. Right. We are not in that space anymore, but we're not in the space where we can absolutely do what we want either. We're in the transition, and that's going to take a while. That's not a like, okay, after this month we're okay. This is going to take years because we have to start unraveling what we believe, what we know, what we thought we knew, what we thought we believed, right? And so that takes time. And I feel if I'm looking on the whole, I feel when these when this time frame for us, the summer of retrogrades, it's almost like the universe, because the universe is always helping us. It's almost like the universe is saying, this is the time for you to really reevaluate, for you to really assess, for you to really take a look at what's been going on, because we're about to make a jump. We're about to move forward. So we're going to give you, the universe is saying, we're going to give you a chance to like look at everything again, see what you really feel, see what you really believe, see who you want to take with you into this new space, see who you don't want with you into this new space, right? And that will bring me to this. So for, I don't know, a month, a couple months, I have been getting the same, like, what's going on? I'm feeling anxious. I can't sleep. What's going on? I feel like something's coming, something big's coming. And yeah, we're seeing sort of evidence of something coming. And I've said that too. I've said, yeah, I can tell something's coming too. Um, I've been really open about this stuff this time. I've been really authentic as I can be. I still have parameters, but as authentic as I can be. So I don't know what made me look at the last time I had that. Oh, that's what it was. It was the last time that I had this kind of feeling of like something's coming. Remember, I told you guys right before COVID hit, I got really sick about 2 weeks before. Like I was on the toilet sick, and I was with my daughter. My daughter was living with me. She had just had the baby, so she had just had my grandson. And I got really sick, and I was like, I don't know what's coming, but it's big. I have no idea. Da 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 da. And I was just sick, 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 sick. Um, and so I'm not sick, 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 but I am feeling that same sort of feeling. And then I'm hearing from everybody else, like something's coming. I feel really weird. Something's going on. And so what made me look back into that is because the last time I felt that, like on that scale. And so what I did was I looked at December 21st, 2020, which is in the outer wheel. So that's where the stars, the planets, everything was at in 2020, December 21st. And if you remember that, that's right before or right when, because we don't know the exact date that COVID hit. But that was also the date of what we call the Great Conjunction, right? So in December 21st of 2020, we had the Great Conjunction, right? And let me look at my notes so that I don't mess this up. So Saturn and Jupiter in 2020 were at 0 degrees Aquarius. So they were right here at Aquarius, right? And we had the Great Conjunction. And we knew that the Great Conjunction it was going to set us on a new path. It was going to set us to a new space. It was going to do that. The reason that we are feeling the way that we are feeling is because we are in tune. That's really, really good that we are in tune with these planets, with Mother Earth, with the universe, with energy. And I can show you. This is why I love astrology, because where the great conjunction was putting us on a new path, look what's there right now. Can y'all see that? That's Pluto. Pluto is at 0 degrees on August 16th. It's at 0 degrees Aquarius, which is where the great conjunction is. Not just that, look at the other planets, right? So if we look at Neptune, that has to do with viruses, that has to do with bacteria, that has to do with stuff like that. That was where it was at on the 18 degrees of Pisces in 2020. What's there on the 16th? That's Saturn. That's right next to Pisces, right? So this is what was going on in 2020. This is what's going on today. So when this happens, we call this an activation. The energy is being activated again. Will it be the exact same thing? No, because we've grown, because our perception is different, because we have changed some things, right? But we still have that feeling because that has been activated. So Pluto on the 16th of August is like, okay, let's take a look at this new timeline. Let's take a look at what happened because I'm at this spot where humanity changed. I'm at the spot where humanity started taking a look at themselves, right? And Saturn is the same thing. He's like talking to Neptune and saying, okay, Neptune was right here. We're going to take a look at this again. What do you believe? What do you understand? What are you willing to move forward with, right? And then we have the North Node at the North Node at 7 degrees, but it's still activating this 4 degrees Chiron, which we just went over. So Chiron was at 4 degrees with the moon, your emotions, how you perceive things, the way that you're going to decide to move in Aries. And at that time, that's where the North Node was. Have we moved through the new timeline? Have we learned to work with these wounds, right? Excuse me. And then look at Chiron. Chiron on the 16th is going to be retrograde. So Neptune's retrograde, Saturn's retrograde, and it's having us look at this energy marker again. Like we're feeling that same energy because it's activated. It's activating that space, that vibration, right? That frequency. What have we learned? What did we believe? What did we think we saw, but we didn't see, or we thought we saw it one way, but we didn't. And then Chiron is like, in order to move through this North Node, we have to reinvestigate this Chiron, which is retrograde here, and Mars. So it was aggressive at the time. It was angry at the time. It was cutting things off at the time. And so Chiron is asking us in the retrograde, have you done those things? Have you stood up for yourself? This marker is being activated, right? And then where the North Node was in 2020, Mars is here, right? So Mars is involved, Chiron's involved, the moon's involved, Neptune's involved, Saturn's involved, Pluto's involved, Aquarius is involved, Jupiter's involved. Uranus was at 27 degrees. There's nothing going on that specific day, but it's going to be moving in that direction, right? Because Uranus is in Gemini now, right? And where was Uranus? Uranus was right here. So Uranus was retrograde in Taurus in 2020. It is now at the 27th degree of Taurus, right? So that specific space is not being activated, but this North Node where we were trying to move through at the time is being activated by Jupiter and Mars over here, right? Does that make sense to you guys? So with this being activated, with this being activated, with this spot being activated, this spot being activated, with these all working together to activate, it's making us feel for a reason. There's a reason for this, right? And we can get the clues to the reason by looking at what these planets represent in these houses and where we were at and where we're at now and what are we trying to rediscover, because it's all retrograde. So we're reevaluating, rediscovering this part, this part, this part. Does that make sense to you guys? That's why we're feeling the way that we're feeling. We're feeling like we felt in 2020, where some of us kind of knew something was coming, right? And something did come, right? But because we are not where we were in 2020, we were all busy. We were all looking at outside of ourselves. We were all just heads down, working, doing whatever, right? We are in a different space now. A lot of people are in survival mode. A lot of people have gone through the survival mode and they're at peace. A lot of people are building a different way. A lot of people have been paying attention in the last 4 years. You're not going to, you're not going to do one over on me this time. I'm going to be aware. I'm going to pay attention. That's kind of how our society's moved to. And because it's the same energy being activated for good reason, it just excited me when I saw, I was like, oh, that's why all these points are being activated again. Again, the universe is here to help us. These planets are here to help us. They're not here to stunt us. They're here to work with us, to help us. Mother Earth is here to help us. They're here to work with us. So there's a reason that these points are being activated. There's a reason that we're feeling the way that we're feeling. But I just thought that was amazing. Let me look at my notes. Sorry. So Pluto's just asking us with this, because the Great Conjunction was about the new space that we were going to, the new cycle that we were going to be in. And we're going to be in this cycle, I looked, until 2153. Okay. So we're going to be in this cycle that we started back in 2020 until 2153, right? So with Neptune, yeah, at 18 degrees in Pisces, Uranus at 6 degrees in Taurus, right? And then Uranus is up here right now. We have to see, like, we're learning a different way, even though our resources are being disrupted, even though things don't feel stable. We are working on making them stable. That's what this area is saying, right? This area is saying, what do we believe in? And this area is saying, who are we? And what do we want to become or be in this new space, right? But we have to be honest with ourselves. And there are things that we're going to have to let go of with this. That makes sense to you guys? Because where we're moving to is not just about us. It's about us and everyone else. But isn't that interesting? This is why I love astrology, because I can see it. This is why we're feeling the way that we're feeling. And as we progress, we're going to see what's going to happen. If I just look into the energy as a medium, right, in my psychic stuff, if I just feel in the energy and look in the energy, I say something's coming in October, November. Yeah. But again, my belief, because I'm feeling void, I'm feeling empty space, I'm feeling just empty space when I look into the election. So that's one thing, right? But I feel like there's more. I feel like the way that they're going to make this happen, or, I have to study the charts more, but I just happened to see this and I was like, now I can explain to everybody why they're feeling the way that they're feeling. So this is just the chart that's on here now. Wherever Capricorn falls in your chart, wherever Aquarius falls in your chart, wherever Pisces falls in your chart, wherever Aries falls in your chart, wherever uh, Taurus falls in your chart, wherever Gemini falls in your chart. Like, we need to be paying attention to all of that. Yeah. 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 Kathy said, very interesting. Is that what's making me tired? Yeah. All these retrogrades, having to like, we got to let go of some stuff. And this is not like, we don't have to let go of, some of us have to let go of some things, right? Like, I'm not going to probably be able to get um, my stuff in storage, right? So I have to like come to an understanding about that. It's just things. If I don't get it, it's fine. I've rebuilt before where I'm going to, like I've been sort of doing that. So that's all retrograde stuff, right? Again, I'm being as authentic as possible. For you guys, it could be things, but to me, it's more of our understanding of ourselves, right? That's why all these retrogrades. But in the middle of that, life still goes on. Society is still moving forward. And so there are things that are going to be happening. But there's a way for us to see, oh, okay, is it going to look a lot like the last time? Is it going to look, this is what those patterns, the cyclical patterns can show us. That's why I like astrology, because it helps. Does that make sense? Okay. I just thought that was interesting. This is what I'm like researching and looking at charts and studying. This is what I'm doing. And then when I saw this, I was like, oh, I got to tell everybody, because everybody has that same, something's going to happen. So what's going to happen? I feel so anxious. I can't sleep. I can't, and I'm just telling you, you're in a better, so I'm telling you this because I want you to know that you're feeling the energy and the vibration and the frequency, right? So you're in tune. The other thing is that you're paying attention, and that's a good thing, because the last time you weren't paying attention, we all weren't paying attention, right? And this time, which means it's not going to be like the last time. It's going to be very different, which is what I said about 8 months ago. It's going to be very different. I've told you guys, we just got to get through 2026 into 2027, right? It's not going to be easy, but that's where like a lot of the manifestation is going to, I'm not saying that there's not going to be manifestation up until 26 and 27, but I'm saying it's going to be easier manifestation in 2026, 2027, the end of 26 into 27. Does that make sense? Okay. Now that I've done that, let's move into August. Okay. So, again, August is going to be wild. It's going to be revealing, and it's going to be a little messy. Okay. So on August 2nd, we'll look real quick. Go back. Let me see if I can get this off of here. Okay. So let me one more. Sorry. Okay. So August 2nd, we have Venus and Leo. Venus and Leo. And it's going to be squaring Uranus and Taurus, right? So Venus and Leo is squaring Uranus in Taurus right here. Okay. So there's going to be some disruption, but remember, it's rebellion, disruption, it's unique, it's different, it's going to change things, but it has to do with the comfort, because Venus rules Taurus, right? And Uranus is in Taurus's house, and it is a square, which means it is like a push and pull kind of thing, right? So on August 2nd, when that happens, there's something about the comfort of you or the instability of your surroundings, with Venus being in Leo, about the self and about being honored, that's going to be changing. There's going to be a disruption there. Okay. So that's August 2nd. And then August 4th, that's when Mercury retrograde begins. And I've heard, well, I don't watch many astrologers, but I've heard, like through TikTok, when I see it, it comes on my FYP, that people are a lot talking about this Mercury retrograde. And the reason that they're talking about it is because Mercury is going to be in Virgo in its home sign, right? So Mercury rules Virgo and it rules Gemini. Where's Gemini? Gemini and Virgo, right? And so it's going into Virgo on August 4th. It begins its retrograde, and it's going to retrograde back into Leo. So whatever this is going on with this, for me, when I see it, what's going on here with this square is going to come up again. So it looks to me like it's not going to finish. It's going to come up again as Mercury goes back into Leo, because it's going to go back into Leo as it retrogrades. It means our thought processes. It means the way that we're seeing something. It means the way that we're communicating something. It means because it's Venus and Uranus and Taurus, it has to do with our comfort. It does have to do with relationships, but something's going to change, and you may not change it right away, and you may not see how you're going to be able to progress this until Mercury goes closer back into, and then goes eventually into Leo, right? And it's going to be there. So it's going to retrograde back into Leo, and then it turns direct on the 28th, right? Not just that, we have a new moon. So on that same day, we have a new moon, right? So you can see the sun and the moon. So the moon is in Leo, right? And it's going to be a new moon at 12 degrees. I know this is 1813 because I'm not looking at the exact time, but it's going to be at 12 degrees, right? So there's something new, some new way that Uranus is going to help, that's going to give you satisfaction because of Venus, and you're going to find a way to have it with Mercury, right? Not on that day, but I see in this new moon where you can see it happening. You just have to like work some things, but then Uranus is going to come here and change the way that you thought you had to work it or change it. Yeah, he's going to make it easier for you. It's not going to feel good to some of you because some of you don't like change. It's not going to feel good to some of you, but trust me, it's taking you where you want to go. Okay. And you don't have to move on it until Mercury comes in here and shows you the way. Does that make sense to you guys? On that same day, later on that day, Venus moves into Virgo. Okay. So Venus is going to move into Virgo. It's already talking to Mercury. There's something going on here. But you are going to see the way. This is about planning. Remember, Virgo is planning, organization, and learning to be balanced in the love, learning to be balanced in relationships. Don't give too much. Don't get into the cycle of I have to love them until they can love themselves, right? You're going to be clear. Okay. So we have those three things going on the 4th. So the 4th is going to be a big date. 4 days before that, 4 days after that, it's going to be very prominent. And I would say that it would be easygoing, except for that there's this square here. So this square with Uranus, with all of this going on, the way that you think you're going to do it, or maybe you don't know how you're going to do it, but if you think you know how you're going to do whatever this is, it's going to come and change it. That's Uranus. Okay. So my thinking is be true to yourself. My suggestion is to be true to yourself. And honestly, this is what I've been doing, and I say still do it. Look at your now. Look at your now. And you can look ahead a little bit, but don't stay in looking ahead. Like, where do I want to go? But I would be in your now. That's the, and be open to the change, because the change is coming. Okay. That's on August 4th. Then on August 7th, this is when Mercury and Venus conjunct, and they're conjuncting. There's conjunction with them. They're speaking. They're having a really good conversation. They're both working together in Virgo. So I feel like whatever happens, you're going to get through it and see some answer and be okay and process this. So because it's Venus and Mercury. Remember, Mercury is the thought process. Mercury is like, okay, this is how we're going to do it, right? It is retrograde, so it's having you rethink, and I think you're having to rethink because of this Uranus. Okay, so the way that you think you're going to go, you're not going to go. It's going to shock you. Then you're going to start to see, oh, I can do this. But that's exactly what you should be doing. You should be replanning. You should be pivoting. You should be rethinking, because that's the Venus in Mercury, right? Now, because I'm going to show you, when I'm looking at charts, this is how I'm looking at it. Because it's in conjunct, right? Because it's like, it's not completely opposite, but it's kind of opposite over here, right? So this has to do, remember, we were working over here with Saturn and Neptune and Pisces. What do I believe, right? This is in connection to what you're going to see. How do you believe it? How are you going to accept it? What are you willing to work with doing it, right? How are you willing to plan it, right? Hi, Aries. Thanks for joining. So I would say on the 7th, and again, I'll give you the exact days that these things are happening, but energy flows. It doesn't stop and starts. Some of you may be a little sooner. Some of you may be a little later than the August 7th or August 4th or August 2nd, right? I'm just kind of giving you a roundabout. I don't see energy as stop and start. I just see it as flowing. And depending on everybody has their own lives, their own choices, that would depend on the frequency that you're at. Excuse me. Sorry. I'm going to put this on mute real quick and cough. Oh, sorry about that. But know that they're working together, right? So just when we thought we had things figured out through here, through this understanding, through this live, you're like, oh yeah, I'm getting some answers. Guess what? There's Uranus. He's like, yeah, I'm going to shake it up a little bit. But you're going to get what you want. You're moving towards that. Okay. So that's a little sticky. Do you see what I mean by, like, this next month is going to be sticky? It's going to be like crazy. Things are happening every day. Your choices are being made. You're seeing new light in new directions. You're still having to like dream about what you want. But what do I want? How do I believe? What do I believe? What am I going to do? What am I capable of? What am I worthy of, Kathy and Cindi? What am I worthy of? Like, we still have that going on in the background. Some of you still have, am I even enough? I just found out where I was from, but I've got all this other stuff. That's what I mean by it's like, it's revealing. You're going to get some answers. So it's very revealing this month. But in that, it's like a lot of movement. It's really interesting how this is a lot of movement in retrogrades, right? So then we have, let's see. So then we're going to go to the 14th. You guys let me know you're still here. Tell me hello. Tell me you understand. Give me something. I know y'all are really sweet and you're like really quiet when I'm working or talking, but I got to know what's going on too. Exactly, Kathy. We're like, but can we do it? Do we even matter? Do we need to learn more? Like, that's what Kathy and I have to deal with. I'm sure Lorna has to do with something else. I can't remember your chart, Lorna. And then there's who's the other one? There's Eagle, who I just can't remember her chart. Uh, who knows? Like we're all working on stuff in the background, and then stuff that's happening in front of us too, right? So then we move to the 14th. This is where Mars conjuncts Jupiter in Gemini, right? So we're in Gemini. So Mars already went over here and wreaked havoc, right? Now he's going to come over here in Gemini. And listen, Mars loves Gemini. And the reason I say this is because Aries is ruled by Mars, and I love my Aries. Like, we kind of get each other when I step into my sun, Gemini, right? So, but he's fast moving, right? He doesn't think about much. He just does what he thinks he should, right? And he's going to be conjuncting Jupiter. So Jupiter is the planet of luck, but it's also the planet of expansion, right? And so, what is he trying to expand in Gemini, right? So let's look at the sign of the house. Um, Gemini likes to keep things to themselves. Um, they're chatty, but they're not. Here's the thing with Gemini: they're chatty, but they're not telling you what they really want to tell you because a lot of that they keep in the background, right? Take it from a Gemini. We kind of do this look over here so we can really do what we want over here. Okay. Now, I haven't been in my Gemini in a long time, so I haven't done that in a long time. But Gemini tends to do that, right? And so Gemini is this big energy, but Gemini in the last couple of years has not been a big energy, right? And so the way that I'm seeing this, the way that Jupiter is talking to me, is like you have come to a deeper understanding of yourself, of the world, of the people around you, of relationships, and you have been too scared to move on some things because when you took the chance on something, as a Gemini, we'd be like, everything that I said yes to or took a chance to, it failed, which is not true, but that's just being dramatic, right? So Jupiter's in there saying, you have, through your perception, because you failed a couple of times, have gotten gun shy. And as Mars and I work together, we are trying to bring you to your sweet, vibrant, vivacious, big Gemini, happy energy. The world really needs you right now, Gemini. And you are probably the only one that can work well with Aquarius and understand them. I won't say work well with Aquarius because Aquarius sometimes gets annoyed with Geminis, but you're the only one that can understand the energy of this deep. I'm not saying Scorpio can't because it's Pluto, but Gemini can work with, understand it, and bring a concept from it and have it be fun and vivacious and vibrant. Does that make sense? Unless, yeah, Aries is unloading the clip. Exactly. So I feel when these two and they're opposing the moon here, right? So what do we do when we're looking to one? This is the teacher part of me. What do we do when we're looking at one sign and we want help with what to do with it? We look at the other side, right? And so Sagittarius, whom I love, you guys know my moon Sagittarius. I think Kathy, there's a whole bunch of Kathys that are Sagittarius, right? So Jupiter and Mars are asking us to be more Sagittarius in the Gemini house. It wants adventure. It needs you to be vibrant. It needs you not to care what people say. You're going to say it anyway. It needs you to, it doesn't matter what people think. I don't really care what people think. That's Sagittarius. I don't care what people think. If I love you, I'll think about it, but I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do. And that's what Jupiter, he's asking you to be the old Gemini that you used to be for me, right? For other Geminis, it may be the same thing. But in this area of life, he's asking you to be vivacious. He's asking you to be courageous. He's asking you not to overthink it. He's asking you to do it. He's asking you to be adventurous, right? And he is going to bring that luck to you. He's going to bring that expansion to you. And Mars is going to give you the energy to do it, right? You're sending a Sag. Yeah, I know we have a lot of Saggies here, which I love. I love Saggies. But sometimes we can only be in the same room for a little bit. Because when Saggies get an opinion about something, that's it, right? And when Aquarius get opinion about something, that's it. And when Geminis get opinion about something, that's it. Well, guess what? I'm all three. So guess what? So anyway, there's going to be some expansion here going on here. There's going to be where they're talking to try to get you to lighten up. They want you to lighten up. They want you to do things the way that you used to do things in that area of your life. It's not courageous. It's like how the only word that's coming to me is like, be a little bit irresponsible. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to laugh at yourself. It's okay to laugh at other people. It's okay. Like, it's not that serious. Like Jupiter can be serious because Jupiter is the expansion of understanding the deeper part of ourselves. But what we've forgotten and have not connected to is that we think the deeper part of ourselves means the more serious part. And it's not. There's laughter in there. There is funny in there. Like if you knew me, like if you see me every day, there's a lot of people that when I make them laugh, they're like, you're actually funny. I am. And I'm a Sag, so I laugh all the time, right? So, but some people just see me as this serious, whatever. That's what Jupiter's asking you to do at this time. There's a part of you that you need to come out and let be adventurous and let be like a child and have the excitement of learning something new as a child. Does all that make sense? So that's on the 14th. Then on the 15th, this is where it can get a little bit sticky, okay? Because one day they're telling us, remember to laugh, remember to be okay, right? And then on the, hold on a second, 15th, the very next day, we're going to feel a little bit different. We're going to feel a little bit different, okay? And we're going to feel a little bit different because now it's talking, these two are talking to Saturn, right? And it's a square. So it's almost like Saturn is like, look, I'm working over here to try to get them to unmask, to try to get them to believe in themselves, to try to get them to understand a different way. And y'all are over here doing playtime. So I need y'all to work with me. And they're like, but you've had them with you serious the whole time. Can you lighten up? And that's kind of the discussion that's going on. So there is something that is causing you, and it could be because you don't believe in what you did before. Because it could be that you believe a different way now. Because it could be that your eyes have been open. But even in that, because that's Saturn that's been teaching us over here, even in that, Mars is like, so Jupiter first is like, even if they change their belief, they can still have some fun in what they believe in. They can still be childlike and adventurous and willing to take the action, willing to make the movement, and willing to take the chance and the risk, right? As Mars is saying, yeah, and I am here to help give them that energy, give them that courageousness, give them that validity, that push. that make sense? So you're going to kind of be going back and forth with this, right? That's why I'm saying it's a little sticky. It's like revealing. You're going to be so parts of you that you didn't realize, they've always been there. You just haven't focused on them. It's like me. This I'm the perfect example, okay? Because this is what my heart's showing me, right? I can still do the work of being a medium, of being in astrology, being on YouTube, and still have fun, which is what I've been working on for the past 5 years. Is it has to be fun and exciting and exhilarating for me. That's my authentic self. I have to be the Gemini. I have to, if I don't like it, I cannot do Virgo too much. I can do some Virgo. It's good to be organized. It's good to have a plan, but I don't have to stick to it because my Gemini side needs to come out and my Sagittarius adventure side needs to come out. And that's what Mars and Jupiter are saying to Saturn. Like, yes, we know they have to plan. Yes, we know. Like, that's what I've learned to do of what's going to be going on with this Jupiter and Mars squaring Saturn. It's like I still have a lot of fun on here. I didn't before. Remember, it was all work, work, work because I was still coming out of my research, my career, right? So I still had these habits, right? Very Virgo, just habits of like over planning, overdoing, making sure everything was absolutely perfect. The perfectionism, right? And I've learned that if I'm not having fun, they're not going to have fun. And I don't want to be where I'm not having fun. I want to have fun. I want to be the Gemini again. I want to step in the energy of Aries that will just tell you whatever. They don't care. Aries are like, I don't care. And I love that. I love that about myself, and I love that about Aries. That's why I mean Aries, Sagittarius. I love that about myself, and I love that about Sagittarius is that they don't have any fear. They will just say it. But do you see that Jupiter? The reason I know this is because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and you guys know Sagittarius can laugh like they're funny. So you tell me, the guru here, the evolved one here, can laugh. That's what they're saying. And that's what they're going to be working with Saturn. So there is something here that you have to take more lightly as well as serious and planning, right? You have to connect with yourself. Okay, exactly. Kathy says, I'll clean as I go, but let's go, Virgo Sagittarius, right? I love all the parts of me, right? And I'm discovering all the parts of me. And you know what's making me do that? The Pluto 12th house. Who am I? What is going on? What is my connection, right? Because I remember I said Pluto's going to move into my first house in about 8 to 10 years. And that's where my identity, my true identity comes, right? But right now I'm investigating all that. So, um, so that's the 15th. So I would say that week you're just going to be. I want you guys to have more fun, and to me, for me, that's my son. That's my third house. So for me, it's the writing. It's the neighborhood. It's where I'm at. It's like but for others, it could be first house, second house. Where's Gemini? First house, second house, third house. Where is it for you, right? And wherever that is, it's asking you what you believe. What do you believe now? And let's work with that. And let's expand that. And let's make you happier. Right? That makes sense? We've got so much crap going on in the world. You can still find happiness within you. But it's your perception. So what do you believe? Right? So that's 15th. Then the 18th comes around. I hope you guys are liking this way. This is a very different way of doing like the monthly, but I hope you guys are liking this way. I don't know what I'm gonna channel. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I just know I take some notes and then whatever kind of comes out comes out. Okay, like I do it the Virgo way. I bullet point. So then the 18th comes. Remember, we still have It's retrograde going on where it's in Leo, but then it conjuncts. Look how it conjuncts here. So they are real. So something that you were dealing with over here, remember here, is going to come to light. It's really going to be poignant on the 18th. Like it's going to finish up. There's going to be an action taken. There's going to be a way if if on the 18th, 17th, 16th, maybe it's that you're finally being who you really want to be and seeing the better sides of situations and truly honoring what you believe, that you finally see the way through this, Leo, right? Feel everything is up in the air. Yes. So Kathy says feeling health and financial, job issues, biopsy on 31st, feel everything is up in the air. So I know most people, all of us would probably like, I can't handle it. I don't have answers to anything and I feel awful, right? And you're a Gemini. But the great thing is, if you look at it from an energetic perspective, it's showing you by everything you just said, you are changing into a different vibration, into a different phase. You are clearer about what you want and how you want to do this, right? You and I still have to work together. You won't have to face these things alone. You won't have to face these things in the dark. But you may have, if you've listened to me enough, the perception that we manifest, right? And you're in a space right now that you can change that easy. And that may be what Jupiter here. With Jupiter here and Mars, I feel like for you, I feel like there's some deep understanding and movement. So you're going to get answers. You're going to get answers. Great to see you, Cindi. So glad you got yourself settled down. Well done for pulling through. Thank you, Rebecca. I don't know that I'm done yet, but thank you so much. I appreciate it, Rebecca. I hope your paper went well. I hope everything went well. Um, but Kathy, you and I are supposed to see each other soon. Yeah, you got some good changes coming. You got some really good changes coming, actually. So, this is 12, 11, 10. Yeah. Not yet. So, remind me, Kathy, when we work together, we need to look at your Pluto and we need to look at this area right here. Okay. So, we need to look at Pisces and we need to look at your Pluto, but I think I'll remember that. But you do got to work on this. You got to work on this. Okay. 1, 2. So for you, actually, I'm going to do this real quick for you because I just see this. As a Gemini ascending. So are you a Gemini sun or ascending, Kathy? I thought you were Sag ascending. The other Kathy is a Sag ascending. But you are, do you have Sag in you? Or are you just Gemini? No, I know you have Sag in you. Are you a Gemini sun or ascending? Because if you're Gemini ascending, this right here tells me that you are about to get called in this time frame about the job. 1, 2, 3. Or way to, yeah, 4. If you're ascending, there's something that you're doing in this situation that always done it that way, and so it makes you feel comfortable, but that's the South Node. You're trying to learn a different way. So I'll just tell you that. I'm going to move on. So uh, let's see. On the 19th, so on the 18th, Mercury in Leo is squaring um, Uranus and Taurus, right? And then on the 19th, we have Jupiter. So on the 19th, we have Jupiter squaring Saturn. So again, there's that conversation. Again, it's like, let's be really clear. There's Uranus. It was squaring Mercury and Leo, which gave us that information. And then this. But Mercury in Leo is going to bring some information, but it's going to change it. It's like freeing, rebellious, right? And then what I'd said about this square with Saturn. That makes sense. But on that same day, we have another full moon. So full moon in Aquarius on the 19th. I don't have it right here because I don't have the exact time, right? But it's going to we're going to have a full moon at 27 degrees Aquarius. And so the sun is going to be 27 degrees of Leo. That's the full moon. Okay. So the same day that we have this square going on, where Jupiter and Mars are saying, lighten up, be adventurous, the full moon is asking you, what am I not seeing correctly? And what do I need to let go of? But because it's conjunct Mercury, this full moon will be conjunct Mercury. And because it is in Aquarius, you are going to need to do it in a very different way. Whatever this is. Okay. And then on the 22nd, we're going to move into Virgo season. So the 22nd, we move into Virgo season. 1, 2. So the sun moves into Virgo. Those plans that we had made over here, that planning that we had done with this Mercury being retrograde, right? The planning that we started seeing, the action that we started taking, we're going to see some light there. We're going to see some things revealed. We're going to see some things come to fruition. We're going to see some things. And the reason I say that is because that's exactly what we were thinking and planning and doing while Mercury and Venus were over here, remember? So you're going to see something come to light. You're going to see something in a way that you hadn't seen it, or physically, because it's Virgo, if you had planned for it and if you had taken steps in it, then you are going to see the manifestation of it. Does that make sense? And then on the 28th, four, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then on the 28th, Mercury goes direct. So whatever Mercury or this situation had been going on, you're going to see some stuff going here on the 22nd. I would say from the 22nd to the 28th is where you see these things moving forward, manifesting. And then as Mercury goes direct, whatever this is going to start clearing up. It's going to start processing. It's going to start where you're understanding, or they're understanding you, or you're moving in that direction. Does that make sense? And we also have Venus at the 29 degree here, who is about to ingress into or move into her lovely sign that she loves, right? Her sign. So she's going to move into Libra, but in Virgo, she's got gifts to give you from all of this mulling, from all of this bravery, from all of this things, from all this adventure that you were doing, from all of this trusting in yourself and believing what you want and doing your thing. I feel like this is where Venus really has all of that come together. Does that make sense? And whatever was holding you back here with Mercury, whatever you couldn't understand, whatever wasn't, or maybe you understood and then you couldn't do it yet, that's all going to relieve itself as we move from the 28th onward. Okay, so like some people are going to get it on the 25th, some are going to get it on the 30th, of August, some are going to go into September, right? Like it just kind of flows, right? And then on the 29th, oh, oops, that's one day too late. And then on the 29th, Venus enters its beautiful sign that it loves, its home sign, in Libra. Okay, so it's going to be entering Libra. And so wherever Libra falls, this is something that you worked on, that you've done in the past, that you understand already, that she's going to, because the 0 degrees is pretty prominent. It's like the 29 degree and the 1 degree. It's pretty prominent. So I can see some things coming through for some people. It is opposing. So on the 28th, when it starts opposing Neptune, it's like your dreams are manifesting. If you have been true to your belief system, if you have worked through your deep understanding and adventurousness and happiness and had been planning, doing all that work, right? I feel like, am I really clear about am I better about understanding that I am worth getting these dreams that I see? For some of us. For others of you, it's going to be, this thing actually came through. I can't believe it, right? Because it's your dreams lining up, even though it's an opposition. I feel like if your dreams are lining up with your true self, then Venus will gift you with something. Yeah. Something great is coming for Sagittarius, and I'll tell you guys in another live or video. So as Venus in Libra will be opposing, let's see, on the 29th, Libra. So it won't completely oppose. It's going to be trining. So I wrote that wrong. Sorry. Oh, no, I did write. I'm sorry. I'm looking at two different things. I did write. So Venus, because this is opposing your dream, right? This is like, am I connected? Am I really truly believing? This has to do, because it's trining, which is a good thing. Like these are working together. Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius. So maybe you healed from this part. Maybe you've come to a better understanding of something to do with partnerships, something to do with relationships, something to do with having beautiful things around you, or thinking that you are, or accepting that you deserve and you're equipped to have these things and these people and these situations around you. This is a good aspect here, right? But it has to do with Aquarius, right? Which is in a different space. Not just me, but the group, right? That makes sense? So, maybe it's that you're learning to open yourself up more. where you had been shut down, because I feel like a lot of us had been shut down, right? Of this is going to cause you to maybe, I'm seeing, explore parts of you that hadn't been explored before, and coming to understanding of those things, because that's Pluto, right? And this has to do with you, the beauty, the way that you move in life, the understandings of what you can have and what you are worthy of and what you, but it's not just you. It has to do with, how do I do this with other people too? So am I this person that can have all of those? That makes sense to you guys? Okay. So that's basically going to round up August. I am going to eat some dinner and eat some dinner with my grandbaby. I hope that helps everyone. I will cut this down into videos and be releasing them this week. Again, I am studying and trying to catch up. So I hope all of this helps. I love that you guys stayed with me. Thank you so much, Kathy, for having me on your 80-inch TV. Thank you, Aries. Thank you, other Kathy. Thank you, Lorna. Thank you, my helpful tips. Thank you guys for being with me, listening to me explain all of this stuff. I hope I did. I hope that you understand it. I hope that it helps you. And for those of you that have never seen me or are just looking, I hope this helps you in some small way. And maybe you want to watch my other videos, especially the Pluto series, because that one's very prominent. But again, I will cut these down for next week. I love you, love you, love you. Thank you so much. Bye. Kathy says, thank you for this. You're looking good on my screen. Thank you, Kathy. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.